Welcome once again to another episode. This will be day 12 of my series for the month of August. My Herus don't appear on no stamp, and this time on this episode, this is going to be a triple double, and I'm going to put 3 in there. It might be a little bit long, might be a little short, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna go on with this, and I'm gonna start off with this. Now, a lot of brothers and sisters, in particular the ones in the conscious community and stuff, y'all should know who this is, because y'all done heard Sarasut Seti, rolling my eyes, mention him a lot. Mentioned him a lot. This is the late elder Dr. Ben Yakana, Dr. Ben Yosef Yakana, otherwise known as Dr. Ben. We just call him Dr. Ben for short, you know. But nonetheless, though, this man here was one of my most profound heroes when it come to Afrocentric studies and so on and everything. I mean, you know, him, his allies being with Dr. John Henry Clark, Minister Farrahkhan, a lot of them. But Dr. Ben was one of the great ones. And, you know, he put out a lot of books. I mean, I think he was on Donahue at one time where he debated this so-called rabbi, suspected white supremacist. Was it Andrew Schultz? Or not Andrew Schultz, but Suma, something like that. Let me just see if I can find it though. I remember. Yeah, he's mentioned here too. So I think he debated him. I can't find it though, but I ain't got time for it. But Dr. Ben was one of the great ones. I mean, was one of the great ones, and he always basically kept it thorough. I'm not gonna lie, I may have read like one book, but you know, a few of the things he read though, so the book ended up getting lost, so I had to turn around and go and see if I could find another one. But as you can see, like with Dr. Ben, man, he was one of those pioneers. He basically put that work in though. Basically took that work in. Here's a picture of him, late Dr. John Henry Clark, Andrew Chancellor. I don't remember. That might be Andrew Chancellor. I might have got it mixed up wrong. But he was that dude though. I mean, no doubt, you know, his work could not be dismissed that he put in. You know, I wish a lot of young brothers would go ahead and try to learn more about this man. I mean, but as it winded down to, I say around 2008, 2009, you know, Dr. Ben started getting ill and stuff. And I know for a fact the Sonetta and all them, they were raising money and stuff like that to pay for his medical costs. And this man contributed so much. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to what I say again about when I did my tribute to Dick Gregory, who, another elder who we lost, had transcended, became one with the ancestors. When they transcend and they go to the next realm, I mean, we don't sit on our laurels and think everything gonna be okay. No, motherfuckers. We got to get out there and we got to still put that work in. You know? Yeah, I agree. Some of us do have jobs, have careers. And y'all think, you know, it's more to this, you know, just being black and being in America, KKK. You thinking that you, quote unquote, getting money. You feel like you insulated, you good. No. You still do realize that there's a system of white supremacy that's out there that is being dismantled bit by bit. And these peckerwoods are circling their wagons to ensure that it stays up there, along with the help of some of their pet coons, bed bucks, and bed winches. Now, if Dr. Ben was to see what the hell was going on right now, he'd be rolling over in his grave, as is Dr. John Henry Clark. You know? I'm saying like that. The picture you see right there with him and brother Minister Louis Farrahkhan, you know, who's also in his 70s too as well. You know, I intend how he listening to him and stuff, but he's also on here too, as I will talk about him. But Dr. Ben passed away, I think. Oh, let me recall. I know he's a Capricorn. He was a Capricorn, born December 31st, New Year's Eve. I think he passed away in 2009, around in April, I believe. But I do know this: he transcended then. He was such an influence on a lot of people, myself included. But one person, for my sports fans, they don't know this, who he influenced the most, and one of my favorite players in the NBA, and I love him a lot, David West. David West was the one who paid for Dr. Ben's funeral. He paid for Dr. Ben's medical costs and paid for his funeral. So that should be that's enough right there. That's enough right there. So, you know, so kudos and shout out go to the elder, Dr. Ben Yosef Yakanan, man. This is one of my heroes. You probably never seen him snap. But I'm going to leave a link in the description to some of the books that he have that you could go to Amazon and get. And, you know, like I say, a lot of our people, a lot of you guys and gals too, when y'all be on social media, some of these so-called, and I hate using the fucking term, pro-black, because see, you know, the term pro-black, we didn't create that shit. That's another term the crackers created to try to basically indicate, to show you that that's how the conscious community got infiltrated. Just to let you know that. Now me myself, I'm not pro-black, I'm not anti-white. I'm just anti-white supremacy. But I'm for my people. No matter what. And that's a lesson. I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna bring that up again. But right now, let me go ahead and continue with this as I bring up one of Dr. Ben's closest allies, and also one of the people that I listen to the most. Well, this man here doesn't need no introduction, as he been putting in that work for a long time as well. You know, man formerly known as Louis Silas, from out of St. Nevis and St. Kitts out the Virgin Islands. You know, known as Mr. Louis Farrahkhan, Nation of Islam leader, and shit like that. The crackers still to this day still talk about him. Now we know for a fact, you know, this man here is one of the greatest orators of our time. Now back during the 90s, like I said, when in my 20s, it wasn't a day that didn't go by that I did not buy a final call. I spent that dollar with that brother when I see him on the corners and all that stuff, wearing the suit and bow tie and all that, wearing the bean pies. Yeah, we'll joke about it, but you know what? It was a lot of good information that was coming out through there. And I still buy the final call to this day. You know what I'm saying? Now keep in mind now, you know, Farrahkhan wouldn't be where he at today if not for Brother Malcolm. He wouldn't be where he at today if not for Brother Malcolm. Okay? Because you gotta understand something. It was Brother Malcolm that put him on. There's Brother Malcolm right there during his days with the nation. And there's Louis Silas before he became Farrahkhan. Because after all, it was Malcolm the one who took him under his wing. Malcolm was the one who fed him, gave him a place to stay, a bed to lie in, gave him hand-me-down suits. And on top of that, both of them were Tauruses. Farrahkhan born May 12th, Malcolm May 19th. Not too far from each other. And like I say, you know, I'm very oriented, astrology oriented. Taurus represents the bull. Taurus is a earth sign, and the part of the body that Taurus rule is the neck and the throat, lower jaw, neck, and the throat. So when they speak, you know it's a type of masculinity type voice. You know, and you know they tell it all. They don't care who feelings get hurt. But Farrahkhan, you know, yeah, but you know, a lot of people try to touch him too, but they can't touch him because let me tell you something, the FOI boys were not ones to play with. I still recall the time he went at the Green Goblin or Rudy Giuliani. I'm gonna show y'all right now because like it was funny to me, but you know. It was fun to me. Let me just play this real quick, if I can find it.
Did you hear Giuliani? See, this is contemporary truth.
Let me let that play.
Buttressed by prophecy. Giuliani says, Obama does not love America. And instead of apologizing, they say he doubled down, he tripled down. He said, I'm not taking this back. He didn't grow up like we grew up.
It was on Savior's Day, by the way.
How did you grow up, Giuliani? A privileged cracker? Or I should say, a privileged devil. You grew up on the sweat and the blood of black men and women who made America before your fathers got here. All of you Europeans, you recent immigrants that had found a home in America. And you are so happy. But you walking on our blood. Our blood soaks the soil of America. We fought in the War of Independence from Britain. The first man to lay down his life for freedom he never enjoyed was a black man named Crispus Attucks.
And he was a fool, too.
We fought on the side of the North and the South in the Civil War. Cotton was king. And we picked the cotton till our fingers were cut up and bruised. We baled the cotton. And you took it and sold it all over the world. So you got rich. And we got nothing. Now you gonna tell me that the God of justice is pleased with you? Because of a Civil Rights Act? Because of a Voting Rights Act? And then you walk around behind it and take it away from those who fought and died in the streets to get a chance to vote? This has been a hell of a country for us to live in. Come home with your uniform on and die under the lynch's rope. You made it from Korea, you made it from Vietnam, and died in Georgia on the road. Is this justice? Listen to what Elijah Muhammad said, and then we can wrap this up. The time of separation has arrived. Listen, listen. It is the end. Allah forced the Egyptians to go harder on the children of Israel to force them to accept to be separated.
Alright, I'm going to leave the link in the description for this video here. Sorry, because I listen to Farrahkhan speak, I get caught up. You know, you can't help it. You can't help it. Because that man speaks to the frequency and the vibration. You can't help but be receptive of that because he's speaking some true stuff. I even heard back in the 90s people talking, even in the small black people, God, talking about, you know, well, a lot of things he says is true, but he actually preaches hate and so on like this. I say, and I argued and I refuted that because reason why you had at that time one of my manager who when she was there at the time when I used to work at Home Depot, and you had this cracker by the name of Johnny. I never forgot him anyway. He was old, you could tell he was a hateful, racist ass cracker. And he mentioned about like they were Farrahkhan, just the cold words and the things he said. I mean, keep in mind, I was like 27 at that time, and like I said, even I knew what the hell that Peckerwood meant. You know, shoot, because I know about you white supremacists. Shoot, they always doing to say such dumb. And then what pissed me off with her, she said like that he preaches hate. How he's preaching? How he's talking about hate? Do you ever hear of the NOI like going out there and killing any white folks and all that stuff? Now let me go back into that because I don't want to get all caught up in this with the thing with Malcolm. But I'm gonna say that for another time. The ones that went after Malcolm, mostly with nothing but government stooges, straight up. After Malcolm left the nation, you know. Now people say, like, you know, Farrahkhan had a hand in helping get Malcolm assassinated. I say, look, he may have associated himself with the collaborators that led to the assassination of Malcolm X, but like I said, the ones that did that were nothing but government stooges. Because when Brother Malcolm got killed at the Audubon National Ballroom in Harlem, everybody, the world wanted to think that it was a guy with a gun ran up there and shot him, which it wasn't. Because see, and this is coming from the late Dick Gregory, he even said it. He said when Malcolm fell, he said the trajectory of the bullet that entered him was mostly like up, was going downward. That means somebody was in the balcony that shot him. Because keep in mind, you know, you had CIA, FBI was following Malcolm everywhere he went. You know, that's what that was. But I'm not gonna blame that like on Farrahkhan. You know, take it as how y'all want it. You know, maybe something, I don't agree with some things that Farrahkhan say. Most of it I do, but not all. But I'm not gonna knock him. I would never knock him. I would never throw him under the bus. And see, us as a people, we gotta stop doing that shit. You want to get out there and throw your own kind under the bus and mix company. Look at all these old buck dancing ass niggers that's doing that to Colin Kaepernick. And some of the same ones that's doing that are right here on YouTube making videos and stuff saying, I stand with Colin Kaepernick, but he's decided he ain't gonna take a knee for the national anthem. I'm like, nigga, is you stupid or what? You can't expect him to take a knee forever. He got to make his bread. He just gonna do it in a different way. I can't make it any more clear than that. Oh, and speaking of Kaepernick, by the record, Louis Farrahkhan is and the nation also support Colin Kaepernick. And see, me being here, being a resident of Miami, and as well as being a native of South Florida, a lot of the brothers and sisters that come over from the Caribbean, I've said, this is the first time you're going to hear me say this, that come over from the Caribbean, a lot of them don't want to get up here and get involved in this struggle. They want to go along to get along and want to be close to the Caucasians as much as possible because they see them as like a level of success. And some of them turn their nose up against, in their words, they say, quote unquote, black Americans. But Farrahkhan, him being from St. Kitts and St. Nevis, and y'all know where that's at. That's in from the Virgin Islands right there. You know, all my Caribbean brothers and sisters know what the fuck I'm talking about. Tell me if I'm lying or not. You know, but some of them also see the plight of blacks here in America, KKK, and they understood that. Bob Marley certainly understood that. Brother Marcus Garvey certainly understood that. Both of them being of Jamaican descent. Okay, and a few of my Haitian brothers and sisters, like brother Poppy Bay. Yeah, he's a Zoe. And he even knows what's up. Same with some of my friends who are originally from the Bahamas. Or whether they from Cuba, whether like that. Yeah, speaking of which, Louis Farrahkhan sat down with Castro. Gaddafi. All of them. Speaking of Gaddafi, the most famous thing about with that and they will be mentioned later on, that only thing I kind of have a little bit ill will to a Farrahkhan, like the fact of the matter that he kind of helped set up the Farrahkhan, formerly known as the Blackstone Rangers, during that time in '88 on Savior's Day, when he referred to them as being his angels of death. But when the U.S. government came crashing out, Farrahkhan tried to separate himself because he didn't want the same thing happen to him as happen to Malcolm. That one might have been during his younger days, but now Farrahkhan is like in his 70s now. You know, and he's giving zero fucks about what he says on them. He's giving zero fucks about that. Now he has made some miscues, you know. And he has called out some of these old bootlicking black leaders too. He's called out Jesse Jackson. He's called out Al Sharpton. He's called out a lot of these coon preachers too. That's what I like about him. But one thing I'm not going to knock, he is one of the greatest orators of all times. Of our time. But he's also a good friend, ally. Now, I know him and Dr. John Henry Clark didn't like Matt Farrahkhan, but you know, I'm not finna stay on this about who disagreed with who didn't like who and all that, because that's small talk. I'm here to look at the bigger picture. Say what you want to say about with Farrahkhan. That's what you entitled to your opinion. I'm gonna leave it at that. But he's definitely one of my heroes, though. As is this elder here, who also had transcended years ago. Y'all probably don't know who this is, but this is Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, who being from Guyana. He's Guyanese, also from the Caribbean. A lecturer, author. He wrote the book, famous known, They Came Before Columbus. Dr. Sertima was also a good friend of Dr. Ben as well. So now I'm bringing this like full circle. The book he wrote, like They Came for Columbus, I'm gonna leave a link in the description for him. And as he overwhelmingly talks about the Moors, and what you see right here is the Olmec head, which you find right down there in Mexico. Now take a good look at that. Thick lips, wide nose. It goes to show you that when you listen, when you see these paperwoods talking about saying, or see King Louis 45 talking about make America great again, or David Duke talking that dumb shit, taking our country back. Let me tell you something. Crackers don't have no country. The only thing they claim to have, they claim to have, is a hole in the wall. That's it. A hole in the side of a mountain. This shows the greatness right here. This proves either for that, you know, and to some of our people who still believe that we came over here on slave ships, I always stated, and I proved it right now, that we were here prior to slavery. Olmec heads were found not just only in Mexico, which is part of America, also in parts of the United States. We have pyramids here way before the ones over in Giza in Egypt. Okay, the pyramids now called mounds. Like you go like to Memphis, Tennessee, they call a place called Orange Mound. That's a pyramid. You find the Olmec heads there too. So we was always indigenous here on both sides of the Atlantic. We was indigenous way before the Atlantic became an ocean. Ivan Van Sertima wrote more than one book. That Came Before Columbus, and I think he wrote African Presence in Early America, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he wrote African Presence in Early Asia. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong about that, somebody correct me in the comment section on that. But he also mentioned about with the Moors too, because like that's who he was talking about that was here. Everybody want to talk about, well, you know, the Native Americans, the Indians were here first. No. Indians are referred to the peoples who happen to be native of India. Okay? Even that faggot Christopher Columbus said when he came over, rolling my eyes again, and he said that there were copper-colored indigenous peoples here of indigenous origin. Copper color, who you think they were talking about? And as Farrahkhan has said in one of his recent speeches, this planet is ours. And this holds so true. But see, when it comes down to American history that they teach our kids in high school, they're not going to tell you that. That's why I say for parents, for black parents, when they teach our babies in school and they come home from that, we sit down with them and we debrief them. That shit that they talking about in school, as we went, we go ahead and debrief them and let them know the true history and let them bring the noise. But Dr. Sertima has also transcended to, I forgot what year it was, but it wasn't too long ago. Excuse me. You can tell I've been up. But he did leave his work behind, though. And you can catch a lot of his video lectures on YouTube. And I'm going to leave a link in the description to both the books. So, with that said, though, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to leave all three of these there. All three of these kings got their spot to me in my version of Hall of Fame of MyHerusDAONS Don't Appeal No Stamp. Let me know if y'all got anything else y'all want to tell me about, want me to talk about. Just put it in my email, send it to me in my email. Let me know what y'all think about in the comment section. Share, subscribe, hit the bell so that when you get notifications, you know videos up. And I'll be back with another one.